What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So yes, USC football did get the W at Utah this weekend. It's been a while since I could say that, ever since like the past 5-6 years. Whoever has been the home team, as I mentioned, has always won, no matter how close or how big the blowout the game is. Yes, USC is definitely more prepared because Utah did not know who their starting quarterback was, because this is technically their first game. Their other two games were canceled because of COVID, which sucked for them, but it gave the advantage to USC, even though it was a lot closer at halftime than most people would have liked it to be if they were USC fans. But yeah, they were still able to get the job done. Running game seemed to lack a lot just because they lost two of their better guys, their second and third string guys, to injuries right before the game, so they had to stick with the senior and the freshman, who did enough for their part, but the passing game was definitely a lot better. There was a pretty crappy interception by Keaton Slovis, the QB of USC, but what definitely helped and fueled this game for the Trojans was their defense. They definitely stepped up, had so many takeaways, interceptions, fumble, recoveries, turnovers like that. So it was really awesome to see. Hopefully they can continue it, excuse me, because this week coming up against Colorado, if it does happen officially, praying that it does without any virus mishaps, but with that, Colorado has been pretty good. I think they're 1-1 on the year, but they did look pretty good against UCLA that first game, so it'll be a pretty good matchup for them. So hopefully USC can get the W with that this week as well. Then on to some Lakers free agency news. So a lot of stuff has happened since we last supporting each other's company. The bigger thing that started it off for the Lakers was signing Wes Matthews. He's a shooting guard / small forward. He's a 3-and-D guy, so it's definitely what they needed to replace with Danny Green. I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming off the bench because they signed guys like Montrezl Harrell, which he won the 6th Man of the Year this last season for the LA Clippers, and was a revelation for them coming off the bench. But with the 2-year, $19 million deal, I think he's going to be starting for the Lakers. And it was one of the bigger surprises, especially for how little his contract is. I don't know if he just wanted to be with a better contender this year and then get paid, whether it's next season or the season after, but definitely glad he chose the Lakers in order to do that. So definitely very happy for that, because we take away something from our rival. And then KCP did return. He got the bigger contract. He got 3 years, over $30 million, which is to be expected. He's been getting large deals, and yes, he finally lived up to getting paid that much this year, especially in the playoffs, but hopefully he can continue it over the next couple years. And then other things that happened, JaVale McGee, even though I did talk to you, he did re-sign with the Lakers, but they did trade him off to be able to make the money correct. They traded him to the Cavaliers, I believe, in exchange for some stuff, but they did get, excuse me, Lakers did sign Marc Gasol, who was recently with Toronto. It's okay. I would have preferred this to happen years ago. He is a guy that the Lakers did draft once. They drafted his rights before he came to the NBA, and then when he was ready, they traded him to Memphis for his brother Pau Gasol a long time ago. And yes, good fortune came from that. With Pau, we won 2 championships, went to 3 straight. But yeah, hopefully he can be a lot better defensively for the Lakers. His numbers are somehow pretty good when he's still on the court, even though he's slow as heck, but hopefully he can perform well for the Lakers. And then just this morning as well, they did re-sign Markieff Morris to a 1-year minimum veterans deal, so congrats to him. Surprised just because his brother got a big contract from the Clippers. He might have wanted to go play with his brother finally, but I think he's technically not the better of the twin brothers. The Clippers are the ones that have him, so we'll take what we can get, especially for that minimum deal, which is a pretty good deal for the Lakers salary-wise. So yeah, it's good to see. Hopefully we'll see what other moves they do, because they did pick up 2 other non-guaranteed deals in Jordan Bell and Alfonso McKinney. Don't know Alfonso, but I know Jordan Bell was with the Warriors when they won a title or 2. So maybe you might keep him just because his contract isn't guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure they'll let go of McKinney at some point. And they still have not technically signed Anthony Davis. They're just waiting to see what deal they could give him. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 1-and-1 for him to try to get more money. So yeah, they keep saying they're going to sign, but there's still that 1% chance. So you're saying there's a chance that he won't be a Laker next year, and yeah, that's definitely what I'm saying, which sucks, but that's the reality we have to deal with. And then when it comes to the Chargers, they did right before the game, I think it was the day before, they placed their leading tackler on defense, the linebacker Kaiser White, on the COVID list, but luckily with tracing and everything like that, they were still able to play the game and nobody had any positive tests the next day or 2, so that was good to see. And they were able to play the game against the crappy Jets, the winless Jets, at home, but everything looked good except obviously they had the punt blocked, the Chargers did, which sucked for them, and that led to an easy score for the Jets. But luckily Herbert responded pretty quickly. They came back down and scored, and then they ended up going up 21-6 at one point. And then they went, I think it was at halftime, 24-6 the score. So just assumed the Chargers were going to be able to run away with it. And of course they didn't, because their offense stalled coming out of halftime, and then the Jets scored on 3 straight possessions, and it was just a crazy game overall. The Chargers only ended up scoring 10 points in the second half, but it was enough. They won like 34-26, I believe the final score was. Still a 1-possession game, but at least the Chargers were on the other end of this. But it really doesn't mean anything. Their 3 wins came from a crappy Cincinnati Bengals team who just drafted number 1 overall this last draft, and that took overtime to beat them. They beat the Jaguars, because everybody beats the Jaguars. They only have 1 win on the season, I believe, so far. And the Jets, they beat, and they hardly beat them. Yeah, they hardly beat all those crappier teams, so the Chargers should really be over right now, as far as the record-wise, or they could be. They could be over either way. They could be undefeated. They could be 0 wins too. So I don't know. Take this with a grain of salt. Herbert, yeah, he did pretty awesome. I mean, this is like the 5th game of his rookie year where he had over 300 plus yards. I think it was like 366 with 3 touchdowns. So he looked well. He had a nice throw. You saw right there those highlights to Keenan Allen for the touchdown. Obviously, he never did that at Oregon, but he does have a lot of talent. It's just going to be the draft offensive lineman to keep him healthy, or sign offensive lineman. And yeah, he had a record. I think he broke the rookie record for over 300 plus yards games in the season. He beat Peyton Manning, and of course, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen more often just because they're going to be in games like this, shootouts. And yeah, so we'll see how this goes for the Chargers. Hasn't been fun watching, because you see a lot of nice stuff and you don't see a lot of good stuff. So a lot of people think the coach Anthony Lynn has to go. I think that's probably the case, just because it was probably a bit too early to give him a head coaching job at this moment a couple years ago. But I think the GM who hired him, Tom Telesco, has to go too. They mentioned an article if he should go or not, but I think he should, just because this is the 2nd coach he's hired, and they really haven't done anything great, whether it's drafting good enough players or keeping their own guys that they should. I mean, it's just crazy. So I don't think I've ever seen a general manager get 3 shots at hiring 3 different head coaches and still being able to keep his job. But we'll see how this goes. Yeah, they have enough perfect time to do it, because they have the quarterback down. So you just need to build around him. And he's on a rookie deal, so it's possible. But I'm just a no one, so we'll see how this goes. And to add more hurt to the Chargers season that I'm having, because of that win, they did move up another spot technically, or move back. So now they're in 6th, drafting 6th right now. It does suck. I mean, it wasn't like if they lost to the Jets, it would have changed. Maybe just because of like the Cowboys and other teams like that having 3 wins, they'd be ahead of them. But it wouldn't have meant like they would move over the Jets, because Jets would only have 1 win. But yeah, it just definitely seems there's a lot of top-heavy teams that have done really well, only have like a couple losses, and there's a lot of teams in the top 10 that have like only 2 to 3 wins. So yes, very lopsided year. Hopefully it can get balanced out, and we'll see. I just hate every time we're behind a team like, say, Cincinnati, which of course they lost their top quarterback, and they're going to be looking at the offensive lineman, the best guy out there, and since they're ahead of him, they're going to take the guy I want, which sucks, but guess we'll have to deal with that and see what the Chargers do. And then a lot of other NBA basketball news happened as far as signings for like ex-Duke and USC guys. The biggest one obviously was Jason Tatum. He of course had to do the re-sign with the Celtics. Well, he added an extension to his rookie deal, so it was like a 5-year, $195 million deal. If he makes like an all-NBA team, which I'm pretty sure he will, like a first, second, or third team, it'll go up to 195, and if not, it'll be only 165. But still, either way, it was a lot of money to turn down, and I'm pretty sure after like 2 or 3 years into it, he'll decide if the Celtics aren't going in the right direction and want to trade like most of these guys. But it's just a smart thing to do, to take that money as you can right now, especially on that rookie deal, to stay with the team that drafted you. And then DeAnthony Melton, who was traded to the Grizzlies from his team that drafted him, he was able to get a 4-year deal, which is cool for him, ex-USC guy, so congrats to him. And then a couple of the Portland Trailblazers, a couple of Duke guys signed with them or re-signed. Rodney Hood re-signed with them for a couple years. Then Harry Giles III of Sacramento Kings signed there on a 1-year deal, which is cool for him. And then the Pistons added a pair of Blue Devils. They signed Mason Plumlee to a 3-year deal from Denver, so that's good for him, but goes to a crappy team. I don't know why you do that. And then Jahlil Okafor was able to get a 2-year deal, so good for him. At least someone's looking at the type of talent he still has, in my opinion. And then Austin Rivers, ex-Duke guy, he signed a 3-year deal with the New York Knicks, so congrats to him. Probably was the biggest contract he can get. Would have preferred him on the Lakers, but there probably won't be that much playing time for the type of player he is. But yeah, if I'm not forgetting anything, I won't add another add-on to this video. But thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye on.